Hi, I'm Assemblyman Mark Butler, and I'm here today at the Rice Homestead, located near Mayfield, New York, in northern Fulton County. The Rice Homestead is a great example of those little hidden gems that exist throughout central New York in northern New York State. I have to tell you, this is a very meticulously restored colonial home, and it's a true joy to come and visit. It was first built in 1790 by Oliver Rice. He was a soldier in the American Revolution, came and settled here and began a fulling mill for the development of wool products, and also became the village's postmaster. Through the years, the Rice family continued to own this building for 6 generations. It is now owned and operated by the Mayfield Historical Society, and they sponsor many events here and many activities, and you'll want to come and see what they have to offer here. It harkens back to a time when life was simpler here. The leather industries were in full bloom here in Fulton County. Every little community had their own baseball team. Every home had an American flag in the front yard. It's a more complicated world now, and I think you'll enjoy stepping back in history and seeing how life was lived in the 18th and early 19th century. So please make a stop up here. Again, it's off of Route 30 near Mayfield, New York in northern Fulton County.
Welcome to the Rice Homestead in Fulton County, New York, built between 1790 and 1810 by Revolutionary War veteran and enterprising businessman Oliver Rice. From an ancestry tracing directly back to the Mayflower, Oliver was born in Wallingford, Connecticut, July 15, 1768, and as a youth served under General George Washington until the end of the war in 1783. At age 21, Oliver and his younger brother Ebenezer struck out for the American frontier, which could be considered to have been somewhere in the central and western portions of present-day New York State. From the bustling commercial center of Albany, they followed the ancient trails along the Mohawk River to Palatine Bridge, where they stayed briefly with a relative. But being young and ambitious, they yearned to establish their independence and traveled to an area 17 miles north and about 1½ miles west-southwest of the present-day village of Mayfield, known then as Four Corners. Before the Revolution, this area had been part of the hundreds of square miles held by Sir William Johnson, who is credited with having converted dense forest into a developing region with scattered settlements and industry, including tanneries, which paved the way for the immense leather and glove-making industry which came to dominate the region for over 200 years. While young Oliver was drawn to the rolling land and the stream that rushed along the western and southern boundaries, Ebenezer decided to settle 5 miles west near Stump City, which was later renamed Gloversville. Oliver purchased 5 acres bordering the Mayfield Creek at $2.20 per acre. He leveled a building site and constructed a one-room cabin 15 by 18 feet. Of course, once he had a house and land, the young man, now 23, felt himself ready to take a wife. Subsequently, he and 19-year-old Alice Parrish of Windham, Connecticut, exchanged vows during the Christmas season of 1792, and between then and 1807, the couple managed to build and operate a fulling mill, produce most of their own food, and give birth to 7 children. In time, Oliver expanded his land holdings to 40 acres. Besides the fulling mill, which washed, fluffed, and dyed woven woolen cloth, water power derived from the creek also powered a grist mill, a sawmill, and 3 tanneries. Add to this a blacksmith's shop, a school, houses for various workers' families, and the community of Riceville gradually evolved. By 1810, Oliver was prosperous enough at 42 to build the Federal-era farmhouse now known as the Rice Homestead. Despite their prosperity and the house's impressive exterior, these were still plain, hard-working people with simple tastes, which becomes evident as one explores the interior. And so as not to waste a perfectly good structure, the original Rice cabin was rolled on logs and pulled by oxen across Riceville Road and attached to the rear of the newly built residence. A winter kitchen, a porte cochere, and a woodshed were eventually added as the house attained its current configuration. As one wanders the grounds, one also encounters the old pump house and smokehouse. The old carriage house, now called the loom room, currently houses an antique tool collection and a working 1779 loom. For close to 200 years, the home remained in the hands of succeeding generations of the Rice family, finally passing to the Mayfield Historical Society on October 20th, 1992. The Mayfield Historical Society had been formed in 1981, and in December of 1994, the Rice Homestead was placed on the New York State Register of Historic Places. It was placed on the National Register in February of 1995 and received its permanent charter on September 15, 2000. From the spring of 2010 through 2012, an extensive restoration was carried out through the skilled professional work of John Coons of Coons Decorating of Johnstown and hundreds of volunteer hours by society members and friends. A tour of the interior now provides the visitor with a first-hand look at the house's history from 1790 through the more genteel Victorian era. One can spend time in Oliver and Alice's original cabin, now attached to the main house and referred to appropriately as the 1790 room, a simple rustic space reflecting both the age and economic condition of its young but ambitious owners. Its contents reflect a time when home furnishings were made by hand at home or by local craftsmen. Adjacent to the 1790 room, one can enter a pantry which displays a collection of items involved in food preparation. Moving back to the 1810 main portion of the house, one enters the original kitchen, a space which probably also functioned as a keeping room. Since separate iron cook stoves were not available until the mid-1800s, cooking would have been done in the fireplace and its large built-in masonry Dutch oven. The Federal-era dining room coincides with the building of the main house in 1810. A far cry from the rustic 1790 cabin, it features a red and black painted floor along with a beautifully crafted faux marble fireplace facade with its period Greek key molding. The Réveillon School wallpaper is a documented design which would have been available in 1810. What is now decorated as a Victorian-era parlor was probably originally 2 rooms, the front portion used as Oliver's office and the back as an extension to the original kitchen. Since Oliver had been appointed by Andrew Jackson as postmaster, along with being a businessman with diversified local interests, he needed office space. When he first became responsible for moving the mail, it is said that he would place his high beaver hat on a stool near the side door, and if someone had a letter to mail, they would come in and deposit it in the hat. Twice a week, Oliver would ride to Johnstown, depositing the outgoing post and bringing back the incoming. Later, he used more official post office furnishings and a fine leather saddlebag for this work. The current space represents a large parlor suited to Victorian family use and formal gatherings. Since photography was available during the Civil War era of the 1860s, the walls of this room display early photographs of family members. Climbing the steep stairs to the second floor, one can find a Victorian bedroom, a child's bedroom, the glove shop, and the Mayfield History Room. The very popular glove shop recalls the history of the glove industry in Mayfield, a nostalgic experience for those who grew up here, and an experience for visitors which does much to explain the unique nature of the region. The Mayfield History Room serves as a gallery for rotating exhibits developed around themes pertinent to local history. So for a diversified historical adventure, you're invited to tour the Rice Homestead any Wednesday or Saturday afternoon in the summertime from 12 to 4, or at any of the Historical Society's special events during the year. Come visit the America of the post-revolutionary period.